Welcome to INTOUCH, a masterclass on school products powered by Brainwonders in partnership with AyurGyan Nyas. This fourth edition of Masterclass series will take you on a short journey of introducing you to 30 innovative school products selected from across India. In this masterclass, innovative products, informative content, and progressive ideas are being shared with you. We remain hopeful that this and forthcoming sessions will inspire you to take your school community to a new direction of development. My name is Namrita and I will be your moderator for today. I represent India's largest counseling organization, Brainwonders. With 108 global centers and 12,000 connected schools, Brainwonders has been revolutionizing the face of academic guidance, career development, and personal growth via its US patented DMIT and online psychometric test. Founded by Mr. Manish Naidu, over the past decade, Brainwonders has been nationally awarded on 7 different platforms, including recognition for being the most trusted and digitally innovative career counseling company. Excellence and passion is what Brainwonders strives for, and with that, let's proceed with today's session. Before I welcome today's speaker, I request all our audience to immerse themselves in the session and hold their questions, which will be addressed right after the session. I present you today's speaker, Anshu Sahi, who is the trustee of AyurGyan Nyas. As a firstborn to a Gandhian father and dynamic mother, she was always inspired by love for children, which ultimately resulted in her becoming a teacher and a facilitator for children. She started her teaching career as a lecturer in the Department of Botany in Regional College of Education, Bhopal, and superannuated as principal of the Army Public School, Dhaula, Kuan, New Delhi, after completing a career of 32 years. She is presently the trustee and member of Managing Committee of AyurGyan Nyas Trust, constituted for developing and implementing curriculum on universal ethic-based education in institutes of learning. She was trained for development of teachers' professional guidance to call for care by Mind and Life Institute at Amherst University in USA. She is working as an educational consultant, imparting in service and pre-service training to teachers and principals all over India. She is well known as an enthusiast who is endowed with exceptional capability in communicating ideas with good interpersonal skills, self-motivated, and a good team contributor. She sincerely believes that the challenge for a principal and teacher is to work as an integrated team to develop ethics and values in children so as they become productive and ethical members of the society. She has often been commended for her services by Indian Army personnel throughout her career. And today's session topic would be on need for universal ethics in education. Over to you, Ms. Sahi.
Okay, thank you so much, Namrata, for giving such a good introduction of mine. Thank you very much. So, on behalf of AyurGyan Nyas, I would like to welcome you all for today's session and extend my gratitude to future school leaders and Brainwonders for giving us opportunity to showcase our work at this platform. In my experience of 32 years, first as teacher and then as an administrator, I realized that academics is a priority in school, and we are pressurizing our children a lot on academics, and we are educating them to become engineers, doctors, media persons, or any other profession which they choose. But we are paying very little attention to their emotional development. We are also not paying much attention to how good a human beings they are. So we have, as a school, as an educator, I realized that with that emphasis not being there in the schools, something has to be done. And you can see these cuttings. These are the cuttings from newspapers, and these are coming every day in our newspapers. And you can realize that because we have not talked about the emotional aspect of the children, the hate, the violence, are rising in the society. For small things, people kill each other, or children go into depression. The mental health problems are increasing in the society, and the children are not understanding how to cope with this kind of situation which is occurring in our society. So keeping this in mind, we started, as you saw in the earlier video, we started this trust known as AyurGyan Nyas. It's a recent, only few years back in 2014, we had started thinking about the social, emotional, and ethical learning of the children. We thought that in the curriculum of educating the child, there should be some curricular intervention about the ethical development of children too. This trust was established with the efforts of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, and under the aegis of Dalai Lama Trust. But our vision in this case is that we want teachers as well as students to become socially, emotionally aware, so that they know about what's happening and around in the society and why is it happening. So keeping that in mind, our vision was to enable the teachers to become ethically aware. And what we mean by this is that they acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitude to develop healthy identities. They also manage and regulate their emotions, feel and show empathy and compassion for each other, and establish and maintain supportive relationship and make responsible and caring decision. It is very important for children to understand how to take these caring decisions and what importance it is in their own life and in their relationship. Next, Diksha. So the point was that why schools? Why did we only come to school? So we all realized, I spent all my life in school, so we realized that school is a very diverse culturally. Lots of people of various backgrounds come into school. They belong to various religions, various castes, and they come there for learning. They come there together for learning. I taught in Army Public School, Dhaula, Kuan in Delhi, and was a principal there. And I can realize that, you know, in these army schools, a child who's a Sipahi's child, a major or a colonel's child, and a general's child, they all form the part of the class. So there is so much of diversity. So apart from army schools, other schools have also got that type of diversity. So we thought that the intervention at this place was important. The other important thing, we felt that these are the formative years of the children. So once they become adults, certain things get ingrained in them, and to change them becomes very difficult. So with these formative years, and when the patterns are being formed, so which will give us a foundation for future years. So if we want our society to become ethically strong, these formative years are very important. That is why we felt that our intervention is important at the school level. Our goal is to make this impact very widespread and deep-rooted, so that the generations which are coming, they are prepared to face the hatred and the violence of the society with a peaceful dialogue. It is so important that to have dialogue, to talk with people, and so many solutions can come by dialogues. And these dialogues have to be generated through kindness and through compassion. So keeping this in mind, we started working with school. The other thing about the school was that, as you can see it on the slide, that the schools, there are almost 25 crore children in Indian schools. So there is a lot of population which can be targeted at this age for development of ethics, and they are going to be the future society of India. Along with that, you can see there are 15 lakh schools, more than 50 lakh, 22,000 schools in India. So there is a lot of space for us to work. The graph shows you that how many waking hours a child has. A child in a year has got 6,000 waking hours, and out of that, the child spends around 15,000 waking hours in the school. So the UEE curriculum requires only 2 periods per week, which constitutes 80 hours out of the whole curriculum. So when a school feels that it is very important to, cognitively develop children, or it is very important to academically push children for excellence, they must also realize about their emotional development and their ethical development, and we require only these 2 periods, although these 2 periods are mandatory when we take our curriculum forward in a school. But along with that, this curriculum can be integrated with other subjects too. Once we train the whole school teachers, the school, while taking a maths class, can talk about anger, while taking a science class, can talk about empathy. So any other thing, it can be integrated with other subjects too. So this is what is. Then we come to what are the principles. So our main principle is universal. So universality means that the ethical development of child is not connected with any particular religion, caste, creed, or it can. So if you can belong to any religion, and these ethics will be correct in every religion. You can be atheist, you may not believe in God at all, and these ethics will be true for those people also. So it has been that universality, while developing this curriculum in mind, has been kept, we have kept it in mind. The first important thing out of this universality is the shared humanity. We are all humans. So, and every human being wants to be happy. So the happiness part is very important. So the happiness can be created once you are loved, once there is compassion in your life, once you are patient, and this happiness starts waning away with the negative types of emotions. So we have kept this happiness thing in mind, that shared humanity and everybody wants to be happy. And the second thing which we have kept in mind while developing our curriculum is awareness and understanding of interdependence. Although we all are very aware that how interdependent our systems are, but we have emphasized it with the teachers. We don't stop and think about it. We don't think about that the small biscuit which we are eating with our tea, from where is it coming? So starting with that farmer which has grown that grain, starting from there and coming to in your hand, probably it has gone through so many hands before it arrived here. So that connectivity and that interdependence is so important, and that is also ingrained in our curriculum. At every steps, we are coming back to both these basic principles. And to do that, we have got these 4 major points. One is how to manage your emotion, how to cultivate basic human values, how to develop compassion, discernment, and universal responsibility. So these are the principles under which we work on our curriculum. So here also you can see that there is a small lotus. Our curriculum is like a lotus. We start from the center of the lotus, which is the mind. So once we know how to regulate our mind, it becomes very easy for us to move forward. So when we say regulation of mind, because the emotions, as we saw earlier also in the video, the emotions are all there inside us. There are good emotions, there are emotions which are not very good. So once we realize that how to progressively increase our good emotions and how to regulate the emotions which are not very good for us, how to develop empathy, how to develop gratitude. So all these values, how to develop, our mind becomes much, much more focused. And so mind is our first core element where we work. And then from mind, we move to the heart. and then move to the body, because once the heart becomes more compassionate, when the heart becomes more kind, our body also gives signals. So once your heart is filled with kindness and compassion, the body gives you signal. And once your heart is filled with anger and hatred, your body gives you a signal. Your face becomes red, our heart starts pounding. There are so many chemicals secreted in the good part and the bad part also inside our body, which gives a signal. And all this helps in maintaining the relationship, which are the last petals of the lotus. So it helps in maintaining the relationship and also creating a good environment around us. So this is the basic principles on which we have envisaged our curriculum. We will talk about it a little bit more after this, but we would like you to see a small video presentation which we have made it in a school. Thank you so much.
My name is Jamyang, and I am the director and coordinator of Donglen projects. So the children who live in Donglen hostel had very difficult life, and they had a lot of challenge, and their parents still live in the street, and they even not having the foods.
लेकिन कहानी एक लाइन से दूसरी लाइन की जुड़नी चाहिए, ठीक? जल्दी जल्दी। मम्मी पापा के साथ रहती थी। उसके दो भाई भी थे। उसकी एक बहन भी थी। नेक्स्ट। बहुत गरीब थे।
From the physical experience, from that we come to know that some of the children are having, we do have the habitual formation. So in that regard, some children are having in a positive mood to help others.
अब नहीं करते,
पहले करता था, कभी कभी कर देता है।
अभी क्या करते हो? मम्मी भी घुस जाओ।
But sometimes also with the teachers also, they do have some kind of regulation in their kind of negative thoughts, like anger or frustration or jealousy, whatever, no? So they are just telling me like that, so it may kind of a change.
जब से इमोशन की बुक पढ़ी है, तब से मतलब ये सिचुएशन के अकॉर्डिंग कैसे रिएक्ट करना है वो सब मैं सीखी हूँ।
कि मतलब मैं कुछ पॉजिटिव साइड में हो गया, मेरे फैमिली में भी जैसे बच्चे साथ ही प्यार से बात करना शुरू कर दिया, और मतलब सभी से मतलब मेरे को खुद को लगा कि तो नेचुरल चेंज लगी मेरे को कि ये कुछ चेंज हो गया।
मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि बुक का इम्पैक्ट है, क्योंकि जब मैं क्लास में जाती हूँ या बच्चों को पढ़ाती हूँ, तो सबसे पहले तो मैं मतलब अगर मैं बच्चों को पढ़ा रही हूँ पर मैं खुद में मेरे में वो चीज नहीं है, तो उसका क्या फायदा?
Time the teachers, they all really very love it and they feel very interesting on it, because most of the activities and the stories are very much relevant with the children, kind of a thing that they can understand it very well.
That when the children went to the holiday in the slum and they had such a difficult situation, then when they came back, so they had such of the depressions and difficulties, emotional sickness. sometimes, they don't want to go back. So that kind of the problem are very much solved by this book. So I would say for the Tonglen, there's a huge changes.
Thank you so much. And now I'll tell Deeksha to take it forward from here. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you, Anshuji. Good evening, everyone. My name is Deeksha, and I am working with AyurGyan Nyas as a program leader. So Anshuji initially had introduced the idea of the program and the organization that we are all a part of. What I'll be doing is I'll be taking you through the framework on which the curriculum is based. I'll talk a little about how it is being implemented on ground, offline and online, and sort of the impact that we've seen so far of the curriculum in various different schools. So as you can see on the screen, the graphic shows sort of the framework that we have. Currently, the curriculum that we have is right from the pre-primary grade up to the 9th grade. And it is a progressive curriculum. So we are gradually trying to talk to the child about these various ideas, about these concepts. So initially, the program is divided into 4 parts, namely restraint, virtue, compassion, discernment, and universal responsibility. And it spreads across or caters to the 3 domains of learning, that is me, you, and we. That's how we've taken or we've developed this framework. So initially, the first part is where we talk to the child about restraint. Restraint is all internal. It is about me understanding my emotions, me becoming aware of what are positive emotions, what are negative emotions, me understanding how to sort of regulate or restrain my negative thoughts, emotions, actions. So once the child, so it's all within me, it's all very internal that the child is learning. Once the child sort of grasps this idea, then we transcend onto ethics of virtue. So what in virtues, what we talk about making or helping the child develop virtues like generosity, contentment, gratitude, or equanimity, forgiveness, etc. The child is geared towards learning whatever they learned in the me domain about themselves and applying it within their immediate environment, applying it in their relationships. So there the child is gradually now moved from me to you. So there's a little bit of me where I'm learning how to develop patience. There's a little bit of you where I'm trying to be generous, I'm trying to be forgiving, I'm trying to be thankful to people around me. Once the child understands that, then in the next grade, we try to take the child towards developing compassion. And what we mean by compassion is very simple, where we are trying to talk to the child about understanding other person's perspective, learning how to empathize with people, listening and communicating with compassion. And when we talk about compassion, it's not just limited to my near and dear ones, to my family and friends, but we are talking about it in a much wider way, where we're saying, let's come together and let's develop compassion for even strangers, for people that we don't know, or people that we don't like. That is the extent of compassion and kindness that we want the child to imbibe within themselves. So here the child is then gradually moving from you to the we domain. And all this comes together because the child is then able to apply these virtues to the larger world and to their environment in general. And this is done under the theme of discernment and universal responsibility. So this is how we've taken this entire curriculum forward from pre-primary right to 9th grade onwards. Because like Anshuji shared initially, that these are the formative years. This is where you can talk to the child about why understanding emotions is important, why being a good human being is important, why developing kindness and compassion in today's world is very important. Those are these formative years, and that is where we want to put or sort of intervene to bring this kind of radical change in society. So if you look behind the bulb, under the bulb, you'll see this word mindfulness. So this mindfulness is basically the core of our program. So a little bit about mindfulness. Mindfulness, as fancy as it may sound, it's very simple. What it means is being aware of the present moment. So it's basically a primarily present moment awareness, where we are making the child be in the present moment, be aware of their surroundings, be aware of what is happening around them. How we've incorporated it in our curriculum. So I'll give you an example about this. So let's say we are talking to the child about being helpful. So initially through mindfulness, what we do is we make the child become aware, develop insight, and start accepting the idea of how he feels when he helps others. Does it make him feel nice? Does it not make him feel nice? How do others feel when you're helpful to others, where you extend help to others? That motivates them to take action and to sort of create a positive change. If we look at the other side, for example, because we start with the idea of emotions. So let's say we're talking about anger to a child. First and foremost, through mindfulness, through practicing mindfulness, we make the child become aware and develop an insight and accept what is it that makes him angry. What triggers anger in him? So the child becomes aware and accepts it. Ki, yes, mujhe gussa aata hai. That motivates him to take action and to realize that if I get angry, I am hurting others, or I am harming myself, I am harming others. That motivates him to take action and to create a positive change. If you see right in the middle, there is the word COPE written there. That's an acronym that we've developed, which talks about consistency, CO, P is for patience, and E is for effort. So when we talk about mindfulness, or we're talking about universal ethics, education, we're talking about behavioral change. We're talking about bringing behavioral change in students. And it's not a one-time thing. कि आपने एक बार किया और हो गया, everything is hunky-dory. It doesn't work that way. So we have to make the child understand that they have to be consistent. They need to have patience. And of course, they need to put in effort into this program, into understanding and applying these ideas onto themselves. So the way we do it is, we have a lot of guided mindfulness practices within the workbook that we have for children. And other than that, we have mindful listening, mindful seeing, mindful eating. So a lot of different variety of mindfulness practices have been put together in these workbooks for children. Now, key beneficiaries. Of course, we are working for the children. We are trying to make the next generation, or the future generation, into ethical, good human beings who are aware of their emotions, who are able to manage their emotions. So what they are learning from this program is we're helping them develop skills like emotional awareness and management. But we don't stop there. Of course, our key beneficiaries are children, but at the same time, we are also talking to teachers. And that is a unique thing about this program. So when we go to schools for workshops, we don't look at teachers as somebody or as a medium. कि हम आपके पास आए हैं, you are a teacher, I will tell you how to transact it in the classroom. We look at teachers as individuals, as human beings, who, for them also, these concepts are important. It is important for everybody to be able to understand emotions, to be able to understand and regulate your emotions, become ethical human beings. So teachers are also sort of given these ideas and these concepts so that they are able to manage emotions better and improve their personal and professional relationships. Yes, of course, we do talk to teachers and explain it to them that how they need to transact it in the classroom. But first and foremost, our primary aim is to make sure that the teachers also imbibe these ideas and practice it in their day-to-day lives. Because once they see the positive impact of the program, it is only then that they'll be sort of motivated to take it forward to the students. So we are working with children and with teachers simultaneously. Now, a little bit about the tools. Initially, I spoke about what the framework is, the broader aspects of our program. But how exactly are we implementing it? So when we approach a school, we offer them two products. We have a children's workbook and we have a teacher's manual. So the workbook is basically based on experiential learning and inquiry-based learning. And this is a tool, the workbook is a tool that stays with the child through the year. So when we give this workbook to children, the teacher, it's not something that the teacher has to keep a tab on. Like the teacher is not expected to check their homework, to check whether what they're writing in the book. It is a very personal tool for them because the activities that we have inside the workbook, they are very personal. A lot of times we are making them reflect on things, on situations. We are making them journal a lot on what they are feeling, how they are feeling, why they are feeling a certain way. And this is all very personal. So what happens is we've seen that this workbook acts as a safe space for expression for children. And there is no teacher who's keeping a tab on this. To support this children's workbook, we also have a teacher's manual that provides pedagogical support and helps teachers understand how to transact these activities in the classroom. I'll talk a little bit about the activities. So there's this graphic that you can see where you see a child shouting at a balloon. So when I say we have activities based on experiential learning, I'll just share a few activities that we have in the workbook. So what we do is we make the child pretend that there's a balloon and the balloon is a friend. So the child has to pretend that the balloon is a friend, and the balloon or your friend has lost a book, or it can be any reason, and that you're mad at your friend. So you start shouting. And kids are very animated. They're shouting, they're getting angry at the balloon. And the teacher very slyly comes and sort of bursts the balloon. And then the teacher says or talks to the children about, okay, let's say your friend returned the book. Do you think the balloon will go back to its original shape? And the child says no. And what we are trying to explain to the child is that when you are angry, whatever you say to others, whatever mean, harsh, rude words you say to others will have a permanent impact. Just like the balloon will never come to its original shape, the hurt that you cause to others, you can never undo it. You can never take it back. So these are a few activities that we have. We make the child sort of explore the idea of where they feel certain emotions in their bodies, within their bodies, by imagining themselves as scientists. So as scientists are always observing, we make them observe. Okay, when you're angry, how do you feel in your body? Where do you feel it? When you're anxious, when you are fearful, where do you feel that? So through these experiential based activities, we talk to the child about these various ideas and these concepts, of course, with the help of the teacher. But we've made sure that the activities or the content that we have, it is not didactic. कि ये करो, ये नहीं करो, ये ठीक है, ये गलत है. It is not that. Teachers are merely facilitators. We encourage the child to explore these ideas and to come to an understanding themselves, because then they'll be able to imbibe in or internalize these ideas. So like I said, the program design that we have, it's progressive curriculum. It goes from one year to the other. So here the program design that you can see on the screen, it runs through the year. So let's say we go to a school, the way we before we intervene in a school or we start with our intervention, first and foremost, we conduct a baseline assessment just to get an idea about the level of understanding of teachers and students prior to our intervention. Then we have our capacity building workshops with teachers, and then the children are provided with the workbooks. We don't go to the school just once, so it's not a one-time thing that we have. We regularly, every few months, we have refresher workshops with with teachers. A midline assessment is then conducted roughly after 6 months, or roughly when the students have studied half of the book that they are currently studying. And the data, so this assessment is done to sort of get an idea whether this activity is working. Are the children liking it? Is there an impact? Can the teacher spot some changes, etc.? That data is shared with the schools. Once again, we regularly have refresher workshops to sort of provide support to the schools and to the teachers. And after a year, once a child has studied the entire 1 year workbook, we conduct an endline to basically evaluate the impact of the program. And the insights and the experiences that we get from the students is shared with the schools. And that's how over years, this intervention continues. So when we talk about impact, I'll talk briefly about how we measure or we assess the impact. But before that, a little bit around the outreach. So currently we are working with 20 institutions, educational institutions across India. It's not, we've made sure that we are very diverse when we go to schools. So we have boarding schools, we have government schools, we have private schools, we have an all-girls school also. So we are making sure that we are expanding on the diversity idea. We are also working with 10 different states across India. So working with UP, Bihar, Maharashtra, Kerala, Himachal, a lot of states. The number of teachers that till date who are involved with the program is a little more than 1,000. Roughly a little more than 4,000 students are currently engaged with our program. And up to today, we've spent 403 hours in training the teachers and building their capacity. So when we talk about impact, because this is behavioral change, it is not very easy to measure behavioral change. So how we go about it is we conduct an assessment in two ways. One is quantitative and qualitative. So a team of our researchers, we go to the school for midline and endline. In quantitative, all the children, all the students who are a part of the curriculum are sort of given a questionnaire, or I wouldn't call it an examination because there are no right or wrong answers in this assessment. It is merely about, so through situations. If you were in this situation, what would you do? Or through stories, like if the protagonist did this in this situation, do you think the protagonist was right, or do you think he was wrong? What would you do if you were in a similar situation? So that is how we sort of assess the students. This is given to all of them to sort of get a generic data. At the same time, we also do a qualitative assessment, which is basically through the process of random sampling. We take around 20 to 30 students, depending on the strength of the school, and our team of researchers interact with them on a very personal basis. So with 20 students, we sort of spend 3-4 hours where we are trying to learn and trying to get their experiences, their insights, and how are they enjoying or what they like about the workbook. So these are the two kind of assessments that we do to understand the impact that our program has. The parameters that we use for assessment is, first and foremost, we want to check whether children are clear on the concepts. Are they able to apply these concepts in their personal life? What is the level of self-reflection? Are they able to reflect? What is it that's making them angry? What makes them happy? What makes them fearful, etc. And of course, the quality of engagement. Are the kids enjoying it or they're not enjoying it, etc. So these are the parameters that we have for assessment. So up till now, we've been on field for 3 years, and the feedback that we've had at this point of time, I'd like to share a little with you. It's very encouraging to see that students, find these classes interesting and helpful, and it's because it's very interactive, it's experiential, so they really like attending these classes. Students have also started practicing mindfulness more often during their classrooms, and they were also able to recall different stories and activities and how it's impacted. So I've been very fortunate to attend a few of these assessments that we've conducted over these years, and I would like to share a few stories that at least that had a huge impact, or that I've kept very close, or that are very close to my heart. So there's this boarding school, an all-girls boarding school that we work with, and when I was talking to this girl, and I shared this balloon activity with you initially. So this girl comes to me and she says, I called my mother, and they get to call once a week only at home. So she says that, I called my mother and she was preoccupied and she was busy doing something. She was distracted. And I got really upset. So I said, आपको बात नहीं करनी तो मैं फोन ही क्यों करती हूँ, आप मुझसे प्यार नहीं करते. She shouted and she said something mean and she hung up. And then she said that, the moment I kept the phone down, instead of the balloon, I could see my mother's face, and I realized, oh my God, I've hurt her. So she again took the permission from the warden, and she said that, I called my mother and I apologized. And I told her, क्या मुझसे 5 minute बात कर लो, and then, तब आप रख देना. So this was something that, really struck me. And there's this other school, a very small school in a very small town in UP. So this this 7th standard boy comes to me very excitedly, and he's telling me, that whatever stories that I learned from the book, I love enacting them with my family and with my friends in colony, etc. So we saw that the students really find these stories interesting, and these stories and activities, they do have an impact on their lives, and they're sort of imbibing these ideas and applying them in their lives. So apart from that, when we spoke to teachers, we realized that teachers who directly conduct these ethics classes, they show a deeper understanding of concepts, and they're also able to apply them in their personal lives. Like the video that we saw initially of Tonglen, you could see teachers saying that जब तक हम इसको नहीं अपनी जिंदगी में उतारेंगे, how can we expect a child to follow that? So we've seen sort of a gradual change coming in teachers and in students in these few years that we've been working on ground. So till 2020 Feb, we were working on ground, and since the pandemic, we've taken this entire, we're sort of adapting our entire curriculum to an online platform, and we've started conducting capacity building workshops with teachers online now. And in the next phase, we'll start doing our assessments also online with students and with teachers. So like I said, we've been working since 2014, and we've made a lot of progress in these years. We've expanded a lot in these years, and none of this would be possible without the team, without the dynamic team that we have at the moment. We have a team of content developers, we have a team of trainers and researchers, and all of us together, we've been able to take this program to this extent, or we've been able to take it to such a big like we're working with 20 schools now. And in the end, I would just like to, on the screen, you can see our email ID and the website. And at the onset of pandemic, we realized that emotional well-being is something that is very important for everyone. So we had initiated, or we had started a blog on, you can go to there's the link also of the blog. You can also go to the blog via our website. There are a lot of tools, a lot of articles, tools, worksheets for students, teachers, of course, but also a lot of these cater to any layman. So anybody can sort of, download these tools, download these articles, download the mindfulness activities, recordings that we have online. and apply for their own mental and emotional well-being. So with this, thank you everyone for patiently listening to me. And I would like to invite Anshu ji to come on video, and I'd like to open the forum for question answers now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diksha, and thank you so much, ma'am, for taking us through your wonderful curriculum, much needed curriculum. I think, and like how you said, that the core belief is universal. I think that actually brings out the essence, about it is just about some simple, basic human values, human rights, which should be respected and appreciated and followed all over the place by everyone, irrespective of their age, their gender, their nationality. I think it is actually a very simple, beautiful, heartfelt, clean concept that we all have been acquainted with today. And definitely there's a lot of appreciation we have for you and your team for coming up with this and endeavoring to make it more well known and worldwide applicable.
Thank you.
So audience, I'm sure we will have a lot of questions ready. I remember whenever we have taken up any topics of ethical curriculum and following certain guidelines in terms of human value and human beliefs involving in any educational curriculum, we have always had a very interactive discussion, and I hope the same zest to be continued today. So yes, the platform is open for Q&A. I'm sure Diksha and Anshu ma'am will be very, very happy to answer the questions. You can post your questions on the chat box. You can take it ahead on the activity section. And of course, you can always raise your hand and present the question directly as well. So yes, over to you, audience. You can continue posting your questions over here. Meanwhile, I would like to just, if you both are comfortable with that, I would like to present something, and I just want to know your experiences attached with the same. So naturally, Anshu ma'am, you work with a team of so many age groups, if I could say. You have people who are highly experienced as well, and you have some freshers, and those the youth coming up also as a part of your team, all of them working with a common goal. However, a lot of time, whenever we have had an informal conversation, let's say in our homes or in our society or in a coffee shop about what human values are, what basic, how certain beliefs and certain traditional values change day by day, it has always been overshadowed by the generation gap. But then actually that is not the problem that you are facing. So why and how is that? Where do those coffee shop conversations go wrong?
I can only say that probably the generation gap is only in the mind, and things change, and we should be able to change with time. But values don't change. Being truthful was, in my time also, it was correct, and today also it's correct. Being empathetic, being compassionate. So these are the, because these are the core beliefs which the whole team believes in it. And you can see our team is pretty young, apart from one or two of us which are experienced. Rest of them are very young, and you'll be so surprised that how clued they are. So when we say that the younger generation is not doing the correct thing or is not ethically very good, is not absolutely correct. There are good and bad in every person, but what we want is that goodness to develop much more, so that the society as a whole develops as a good society. So that's what I tell the whole team also with which we work, is that they come out with such insights when we are developing the curriculum. Like an adult, like such an experienced people, sometimes I'm not able to think like that. So the new generation is also very good. The new generation is having all those conversations and from those conversations also the path is going to come. So
I think when we sit together and we are brainstorming between the older generation and the younger generation, we might not agree with how we want to present a particular activity, but something that we've always agreed on, the entire team together, is that we need something like this in society. We need to cater we need to make sure that the children today are not only focused on earning money and on success, on competition, but on just values of being kind and compassionate and loving. And like you said, human rights, we are all humans, we all deserve to be happy. So let's not make anybody's life miserable. So that all I think all of the team agrees on. I think we have a question in the chat also.
Yes, so I will present that question to you. It has been asked by Shalini Mehta. So she states that moral education means an ethical education that helps choose the right path in life. It comprises some basic principles such as truthfulness, honesty, charity, hospitality, tolerance, love, kindness, and sympathy. Education is not aimed at obtaining only a degree, and it includes a necessary value-based teachings which result in character building and social improvement as well. But why does the present education system pressurize for grades rather than values?
Anshuji, would you like to take
that? Is probably the folly of the education system. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is probably is the folly of the education system, and we are trying to address is, if you see the new education policy and the policies with the policies are very good, but their implementation somewhere the loss takes place. So when we talk about moral education, that's why we started this curriculum. In our times also moral education was there. The moral education was also part of the family values. The family used to teach all this to their children. But somehow, because the families became nuclear and the parents have become more and more towards the money and materialistic gains, so the timings have become like there's so much of diversity and so much of distractions are present in today's time. That is the reason we thought that there has to be some curriculum where the teacher and the student engages in a very productive way, and it is not didactic. In moral science, when we used to do it, okay, this is the story and this is the good part of the story, and later we used to forget about it. That's why we have made it experiential. As Diksha told you, that we have made it in such a way so that the child comes with his own answer. And when the children are making their own answer, or an adult is giving their own answer, there's a thought process which is going into it. And with that thought process, the internalization takes place. So with that in mind, we made this curriculum. The education system, and we are all teachers, so probably somewhere we were responsible for, we can't blame us or anybody else, but there is a time to start, and we thought that this is the time we definitely need to start. And that's how we are taking the curriculum forward. I hope it answers the question for you.
I'm sure, ma'am. We actually have another question waiting for you by Sachin Kumar, who states, moral values need to be inculcated in all age groups, especially in young children. As it is said, young minds are empty and just a plain white sheet. So whatever mark we leave, the impression remains for years. When it comes for a teacher to inculcate values to their students, why does it take more for the teachers to do that?
A good teacher is always imparting these values, because the teachers are also role models, so they are being watched by the children. So whether you want or whether you don't want it, the values they will start imbibing, and we all know how children adore their teachers in their primaries. So if the teacher gives the wrong spelling, they'll go home and they'll tell their parent that no, this is the right spelling. So that is the kind of adulation comes, and I agree that these are empty minds. So initially we started our curriculum with class 6 because we thought this is the place where we should intervene. But as we started going to the schools, we realized that it should start with primary, because there, once they are in a developmental stage where the impact will be much more. So it's as we told you, it's a progressive curriculum. So we will be going part by part, starting with primary and then increasing depending upon the developmental stage of the child, because we can't bombard the child with things and so that he start even hating sometimes, oh, there is an ethical. So we made it very interesting because of this reason. So whether you're a primary child or class 6 or class 7, wherever we've gone, they've really enjoyed the curriculum. That has been one thing primary in our mind.
And if I may add, that, like Anshuji said, children really look up to their teachers and to their elders. So, so many times we see we tell the child कि झूठ बोलना गलत है, lying is wrong. But you see your own mother or father saying कि घंटी बजी है या phone पे बोल दो मम्मी पापा नहीं है. So the child learns through that. And the same, in a similar way, the child learns through teachers also. So the reason why we are not only targeting students, but also teachers and helping them imbibe these values within themselves is for this precise reason. When the teachers understand the importance of social, emotional, and ethical learning, then the child will automatically imbibe it from that. They worship the teachers. They'll automatically imbibe it from teachers and from their surroundings.
I think I agree with Diksha over there. Instead of correction and prevention, we should just focus on getting it right in the first go. And that is actually the natural way. If you do something truthfully, if you do something gently with a lot of compassion and kindness, that is the natural way. That does not take any extra effort. It is when you have to, let's say, lie or cheat or do something, that is the time when you have to take that extra effort and see, okay, how to get away with this. So children, when they're very impressionable, and if they are learning something good or bad, I think it's very important that we take a look around that child and see where are they learning this from, instead of just directly, putting it on the child.
Right.
Pankaj Jain is asking, our society today is much advanced, much better than it used to be. But what if the people of the society are not well mannered? And with rapid urbanization and modernization, the moral values of people are degrading day by day. It is the moral values that teach us to share and make new friends at school, but today children are taught not to trust anyone and make less of friends. How to change this mindset?
You see, the modern, when we say we are becoming very modern, it is just that we are becoming much tech savvy. We have got so many gadgets. We have got a TV to look at. We have got a telephone to look at, and that is where little bit of problem starts. The problem is not in the technology. The problem is the use of the technology. So, with the technology, the moral values should decrease is not correct. The thing is that the society somehow changed in such a way that everything is okay. If you are angry with somebody, to hit somebody in your anger is okay. If somebody crosses you, overtakes you, so what the child is learning? He's seeing everyday paper. We showed you the cuttings. Everyday paper that somebody overtakes someone and the person gets out and shoots him. So when you've got these kind of examples in front of you and you are daily bombarded with these type of examples, then the child has also started feeling, okay, so it's okay by me also if I get angry. But when you tell them that what anger is doing to you, inside you, as you grow older, you develop blood pressure, the incidences of heart attack, the incidences of so many other diseases have increased so much. So that probably impressions the child or the adult more, because now it's about you. It's not about the society. So when we start changing us, it'll go to the society and people will change. That's what is our aim.
If I can just add a point here. So when Pankaj ji has asked how to change this mindset, I personally feel, and that I think is a lot in the curriculum also, is the change has to start from within. So the reason why we are starting with understanding our own emotions and trying to reduce negative emotions like fear and anger first within us is precisely for that. So I mean, tali ek haath se nahi bajti. It has to be both ways. If the society is acting in a certain way, a lot of it is because we are a part of society and we also act in this way. So under mindset, the first step is to first bring about that change within ourselves and then gradually sort of expand and take it forward to others. And that is also how our curriculum is framed. From me to we, that's the transition that we are making.
Thank you so much, Anshu ma'am, and thank you so much, Deeksha, for your contributions today. I think you have made a lot of valid points, which I'm sure will be globally accepted, globally agreed with, and I hope globally implemented very soon. It may take some time, but I think as long as we are moving, steady is also fine, slow is also fine. As long as a difference is being made, I think we are on the right track. Thank you for your time and contribution and the values you have put forward today. It was definitely very much appreciated by us as well as the audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, dear participants, for engaging in today's session. The details of AyurGyan Nyas has been posted on the chat box. Their website is ayurgyanyas.org, and they can be reached on phone and email as well. We look forward to meeting you again at 5 o'clock tomorrow for another bright session. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.